بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we're gonna start with the next 5 letters. So a lot of stuff on our plate today, but inshallah we can make it. So let's go right through it. We have a second triplets right here. We mentioned the first triplets before, and today we're mentioning the second triplet. You have this letter with fath'a. Remember, we said we always, for now, assume there's the fath'a on top of it, right? So as if there's this on top of it. So when we see this fath'a, it's pronounced as ja, as in jack, ja. In the middle, it looks like that. So there's something in here. There's a small connection line, the head of the letter with the dot under it, then a small connection on the left side, and then you keep going, writing something else. At the end, you're writing something in here. You have a small connection point here. You have the head still there with a dot, and then you have this tail with it. So the tail shows up if it's at the end or if it's by itself. And this letter is called ja. The name of the letter is Jim, but we're not here to learn the names of the letter, not in this course. That's how I go with it, because it's kind of confusing. I don't want you to be trying to read the Quran and you start saying Jim, because when you read the letter, you read it as Ja, not as Jim. So we're just gonna learn how to pronounce the letter. So this is Ja. And as you can see, or maybe you can see me, but when it's recorded, I guess they take out the video. As you can hear also from me, I'm smiling when I say Ja, Ja. Ja, because it's a soft letter or a light letter, okay? Its sister right under it is Ha. Ha is one of the 3 difficult letters for English speakers to pronounce. There are 3 letters out of 28 in the Arabic language that are usually considered difficult for non-Arabic speakers to pronounce. And this is one of them. Ha. It's a clean sound coming from the throat. We're gonna see right after I talk about these in a quick manner, we're gonna see the picture, which shows where the letter comes out. And we're gonna, look at that in more details. So this is Ha. It's the same shape. The difference is there's no dots, right? Not found in English. It sounds like a harsh H, okay? It's not Ha. There is actually a letter in Arabic we're gonna learn later on that sounds just like the H in English. This is Ha, Ha. And if you can't get it from the first time, that's okay. But know that you can get to pronouncing it. You just have to practice, because you've learned other languages and the muscles needed to pronounce that specific letter, you probably have never used them ever in your life, okay? So it's all about practice. Next letter is the third out of this triplets. Same shape again. This time the dot is on top. Also not found in English. It sounds like, actually I'm gonna do it, it's Kha, and it's heavy. Heavy, we said heavy means you make a circle or an oval with your mouth. You don't smile, because if you smile, it comes out as Kha. It's not Kha, Kha, it would have been a light letter. It's Kha. And it's you know, I'm gonna be a little disgusting. Imagine that you're gonna spit. Sometimes you want to clear your throat before you spit. What do? You and you spit, right? So that's exactly where that sound is coming, but a little deep in your throat, so that it's a heavy sound, right from the bottom of your throat. We're gonna also see it in the picture. So those are our first three letters for tonight, and then there's da, pronounced with fath'a, as da is in dan, da. Da, for us, when we write it, we're just gonna take it as two straight lines, you know, forget about this slight bend there. So two straight lines out of a triangle, right? Only two lines with a small connection. Notice that in the middle position, there's no dots here like I show in this place. Why? Because we have a star, and starred letters, we said they cannot connect from the left side, okay? So we do not connect these letters. That means if there is a letter after this letter, you have to stop here, you put a small space, and then you start writing again. You have to stop, make a small space, and start writing again. This is da. And finally, for tonight, this is the. Remember, I'm pronouncing all the letters assuming there's a fath'a, right? Fath'a. If it wasn't there, if there was a kasra, this would have been G, Hi, Khi, D, the, right? So it all depends on the accent, but for now, we just want, our objective is to recognize the shape of the letter and be able to pronounce it with a fath'a. So this is pronounced as the, as in that, the, as in that, okay? A lot of letters. I'm gonna give you a few seconds, well, maybe a minute or two. I'm gonna pause it so the recording doesn't include this, but I want you to look at it and try to memorize how you pronounce that for a couple of minutes. Notice that the common feature, right, is the head, okay? The tail is added at the end, but they all have this head and the dot. That's what is unique about this letter. Anytime you see this head with the dot, know that this is ja. When you see the head without the dot, it's ha. If the dot is on top, it's ha. This is da and this is the. So the difference is the dot, okay? Again, I'll leave you for a couple of minutes. Please try to memorize it. Let's go straight to the practice, the small practice we have here. Practice by circling the letters you recognize in the following words and pronounce them loudly. So right now we learned several letters, right? So let's go from right to left, and start looking at every letter. This is a letter. We haven't learned that letter yet, so we're gonna pass it. This is a letter. 1, 2, 2 dots. That's a t, ta.
Ta.
Ta, yes. So I'll be the only one now pronouncing from now on. Thank you, Jazakallah khairan. So this letter, also we learned it today, right? And this letter sounds like ha.
Ha.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna make sure we keep going here. This is a letter that we haven't studied. We're gonna skip. We haven't studied that one. This one we did, and that is ba. Then we go to a. Skip that one. Skip that one. Next, the second line, we have a letter we don't know. We don't know this one either. This one has 3 dots. Tha. Tha. This one is ta. This is a new letter. You know, it's similar to tha. It has 3 dots, but has 3 teeth at the same time. So we don't really know that yet. This is our ja. This is ta, a, ta. We know that one today. The. Did I skip this one? Da. Maybe I skipped it. Allahu alam. I felt like I skipped it. This is da, and this is the. We learned these 2 letters today. Okay. What I want to do is, as you know, we're going to go to the picture, and I want you to look at where these sounds are coming from. Da, I want all of you to say, not, you know, it by yourself, not to share with me, but say da, keep repeating it over and over again, da, da, and notice where it's coming out of. See how your tongue is? It's close to the tip of your tongue, not from the tip though. Da is a little bit up your tongue when it touches the palate. Da, da. The is actually from the tip of your tongue when it touches your teeth. That, right? When you say like that house, that car, that. Your tongue goes between your teeth and you say that. So please say that several times. That. If you're feeling that this is actually where it's coming from, you're probably saying it correctly. Ja, as in Jack. If somebody whose name is Jack, right? You say ja. Ja is the back of your tongue when it touches the palate. Ja. Then you have your ho, right from your throat. Ho. That's where the ha is. And it's heavy, as we mentioned. Ha. It has to scratch your throat. And under it is even deeper than ha. Ha is right at your throat level. You know, where you're like almost like right below your tonsils. Ha, right? Deeper than that is ha. And that is a clean voice. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop sharing that one and I'm gonna share I'm gonna share another screen, which is the Quran. To, like I said, always want to jump straight to the Quran and try to get used to seeing the letters from the Quran and that font. So I'm just gonna pick any page, any surah. I'm just gonna flip a little bit. Let's say I'm gonna look at this line, okay? And we're gonna go with the first line. And let's see, this letter. Let me bring my spotlight here, see if it helps. Spotlight. I don't know this letter, not this letter. This letter, I know. It's da. It doesn't have the fath'a on top, but for now we ignore it. I just want to recognize that letter. And every time I recognize the letter, I want it to stop and I want you to literally say it out loud, da. This way you practice two things. One is recognizing the letter, the form of it, and second, you practice saying it. Okay, and remember, you're saying it assuming there's a fath'a, just like this. But in this case, if I really wanted to pronounce it, it will be d. It's a silent da. Okay, it's a d. But for now, we're just talking about fath'a, da. Keep going. Looking for letters that I know. I know this. This is a. This is ta. This is today. We learned it. It's ha, ha, ta, ja. This is a small a, right? This hidden on top there. That's a. It has to be pronounced. This is kha, right? Kha, assuming there's a fath'a over it. So as you can see, we went through that entire line and we detected the letters that we know. We're going to go through another line. Ta. By the way, I need to tell you something also, that in the Quran, sometimes you see the tooth, sometimes it's not very clear, sometimes it's clear. I mean, there's like a small bump here. Sometimes it's like this tooth. See how sharp it is? Don't, don't get into too many details, right? As long as there's an elevation of some sort, consider it as a tooth. Second thing is, sometimes the two dots are next to each other. Sometimes they're on top of each other. Also, that doesn't make a difference for us, okay? As long as the dots, the number of dots is 2, that's what we're looking for, okay? So don't panic if you ever see a ta with 2 dots on top of each other. That's actually something you already know. This is an a. Some fancy letters you haven't seen before. That's okay. We're going to learn, inshallah, all those. This actually is a form of a letter we learned, but I couldn't really find it and put it for you in the book. But this is a ha, believe it or not. This is a ha. This letter is, let me see if I can find another one in here that looks just like it. So in this Quran, actually, the ha looks like this when it's not in the beginning. See the ha? If you actually ignore this straight line, right? This straight line is one letter, and it's coming right on top of our ha. Did you notice? So this is actually the head of the letter. So I want you to pay attention that sometimes you might be tricked. These are the only letters where you might find some difficulty differentiating them. And those are the ha, kha, and ja, those triplets. Sometimes they have the lam. This is in the future we're going to learn. This is the lam letter. And it can look like it's right on top of it, okay? But this is first, and then to the left of it is the ha. And when you look at it, you might not be able to recognize it, but it is the ha hidden, okay? It's a hidden ha right there. Just like in here, I skipped a few letters, sorry, but I want to tell you that this is ja, if you can see, right? This is the head of ja. Please don't freak out on me. This is the head of ja. And this was another letter. So it's another letter that started and landed and started ja right here. So this is ja, okay? I'll finish with saying this is ba, This is ba, and that's the end of this. So this was really the end of these few letters that I want to share with you. I would suggest, like always, please, I want you to read the page of the Quran, scan it with your eyes, try to find the letters that we studied until now. We studied 9 letters. That's almost 1/3 of the entire alphabet. So that's a lot of letters, 1/3 of it. And every time you recognize it, you recognize a letter, stop and say it or pronounce it, assuming there's a fath'a on top of it. Okay, so scan it and do that. And tomorrow, inshallah, we'll have exercises to make sure we master those new 5 letters. You can always also review my recordings of this lessons and the previous lessons. Okay, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.